We've talked about in season one, Apple coming out with their own SVOD platform and what they're doing that's going to be different from what Netflix and Amazon's doing, where it's just more or less a free for all of any type of content, is they're being super restrictive, jokingly calling it an expensive NBC. Where this came to be is Apple is coming out with a new show called Vital Signs, and it's a semi-dark biography about Dr. Dre, but there is a part where they're talking about Dre doing lines of coke. There's an extended orgy scene, there's drugs, and at that point Tim Cook was like, yo, this is too much. We don't want to have this. So my question for you, Jules, is do you think this is going to work, this restrictive, this PG SVOD service? Like, can a PG SVOD service work in today's day and age?
So if people have to buy, I guess, Apple SVOD on its own, then I think honestly, for me and you, it won't work, but for like the normal consumer, it'll work because essentially it's all about being in the ecosystem. If I have an iPhone, I have Apple Music, therefore I'll have an Apple SVOD. If you have enough product, I'll watch it. But my concern would be on the talent side. Talent isn't going to more restricted places. They're going to places that have more ownership. It allows you to do more things without executives getting in your way. A lot of times you have Kenya Barris going to Netflix because he had an issue with ABC pulling down his episode of Blackish. He's not gonna go to Apple thinking like, yo, I want to go here because now they're gonna tell me I can't have this scene because somebody said something, right? This isn't 1991, okay? This is 2018 in which content is going to extremes and
Yeah.
the content creators themselves aren't being restricted anymore, right? They don't go to Netflix and they don't go to Hulu to be restricted. If that was the case, we wouldn't have like Handmaid's Tale. We wouldn't have Castle Rock. We wouldn't have. And Tim Cook is saying he doesn't want politics. I mean, say what you want to say, but like one of the greatest pieces of content has to do with politics,
I,
right?
I mean, it's so
Like,
real, and like it's so ridiculous, like how restrictive he wants to be. And I think one of the reasons why it's problematic for him to do it is the fact that he doesn't know media and entertainment. Like that's not his background, and that's one of the things with tech companies or with companies in general when you enter into a new playing field. If you don't know how the industry works, then you just get eaten alive. And I, as annoyed as content creators get with executives in the media entertainment space making recommendations and notes, I can only imagine how pissed off they would be with someone who doesn't even know the industry making recommendations and thoughts saying like, oh, this is too much and stuff. I just don't know. Like, obviously, the content creator side, I think you laid out that perfectly. Like, who's going to really want to sell them that stuff to have to see those notes? But I also don't know who the consumer is going to be because there is a kids section in Netflix. There is broadcast cable TV. Who are they creating content for?
who like exactly who are your consumers? Okay, like they have CBS, we have NBC, we have CW, right? We have ABC. I don't think I need to go pay for your SVOD service now to give me this PG-13 product. I don't care about that. Like you said, Netflix has Netflix Kids. If you want your kids to watch that, you got Disney, right? Even Disney is going to have a little bit of a rated R twist because you're gonna have like the Hulus that they have. They may have some stuff going on with Netflix, but their Disney platform is gonna be geared towards families. How are you? What's my incentive as a person? And I think he's gearing towards family, and I have a child now. What's my incentive to go get the Apple product? I have none because now I don't even want to watch that stuff. Because at the same time, animation does really well because your certain animated titles do really well because it's not because the kids just watch it, it's because the kids and the parents watch it,
Yeah.
right? If you give me a platform, I want something that I can watch with my kids, but also things I want to watch without my kids. Apple's selling something that's like we're all family friendly. I'm like, you're going towards a demographic that's more maybe on the 50 side. I don't know. But even if I was 50 or 60 right now, I'd be like, I'm not watching that, bro. I want to
Yeah.
watch something else.
And it's like, who are your consumers? There are a lot of older people that use Apple products, but when you start talking about SVODs and stuff, I don't know. I highly doubt that the average age for Apple Music is a demographic that would be attracted to this product. I think it's a huge a huge misstep, honestly. Like, I understand what he's doing, but you're right. Like, I can handle, okay, like, you don't want to talk about drugs. They also don't want to talk about religion. You also don't want to talk about sex. But now you also don't want to talk about politics? Like, you just crossed off all of my favorite shows. And I'm
Yeah, like
not
I could.
like, I mean, it's not like we're heathens and stuff, but I mean, I'm an adult.
I mean, one of the top series people talk about of all time, you talk about like a show like Lost, right? That had those aspects that Tim Cook is not looking for, right? You have a show like Sopranos. You have Game of Thrones. I mean, like I said, you have Handmaid's Tale. All of these shows have everything he's saying he doesn't want in it.
You can't even have Empire on Apple, and that's on broadcast. And I think it's interesting is we're seeing broadcasters take a step more towards edgier content, and they're
Oh yeah.
pushing the envelope more and more. I think that his move to restrict the release of content, I question how successful it can be as he's trying to be a new entrant into the marketplace.
It's so backwards, and I think, if you're a new entrant in this marketplace, you don't need to be restrictive. You need to be open, and content is king because distribution is everywhere. Your content can be distributed on anything, and as a content creator, I'm just not gonna go to you, man. Like you're not even the biggest player right now in that space. I don't need to go to you.
Right. Well said. With that, thanks for joining us for 30 to Melrose Briefs.
See ya.